Okay, good morning, class. Please stand for a prayer.
The Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, forgive us our debts as we forgave our debtors, and lead us not into temptation but deliver us from evil. Amen.
Okay, class, can you still remember our topic yesterday? Very good. It was all about the Earth's surface. Most of the Earth's surface, about 70%, is covered with water. The remaining 30% is made up of the 7 continental land masses. Underneath the water that fills the oceans and the dirt and plants that covers the continents, the Earth's surface layer is made of rock, right? So I have here a few flashcards. Can you tell what you observed? So what do you see? Very good. A rock crushed into smaller pieces. Now how about this? Very good. A sand. Now I have here a picture of the Kapurpurawan Rock Formation in Burgos, Ilocos Norte. I want you to look carefully. Now what do you see in this picture? Yes, you noticed as well. There are different rock formation. Now, what do you think? Why are those rock has different forms? You got an idea because of the waves that is hitting the rock. So our lesson for today is all about the weathering, soil, and erosion. Now, I have here a video clip entitled Weathering. I want you to pay attention as you watch the video clip. Understood?
Weathering.
This rock is smaller, but it looks like the same type of rock as this mountain.
Weathering happens over time. It's a process. Weathering can break large rocks into small rocks. Weathering breaks smaller rocks down further into soil, sand, or even tiny particles called sediment. But what causes weathering? Water, ice, wind, plants, heating and cooling. All of these things affect the earth and play a part in breaking rocks down into smaller pieces. They are the causes or agents of weathering. Water. Some of these agents can cause change physically. That is, just by the force of contacting the rock. Water, in all its forms, is the most powerful agent. The physical force of water and ice can break rocks and wear away their surfaces. When water freezes in cracks in rocks, it expands. It gets bigger. The force of expanding water is so great it can actually split rock apart. You might have discovered this yourself if you've ever frozen a water bottle to take to school. That bottle is full of water, all the way to the top. It's standing nicely in the freezer. You think, I can put it on my desk tomorrow and let it melt. I'll have cold water all day long. The next morning, though, what's happened? The bottle won't stand up. The frozen water has gotten bigger. It has expanded and pushed out the bottom of the bottle. It's no longer flat. The freezing action of water can expand the cracks in rocks and break them up. The flowing action of water can weather rock too. It slowly wears the surface of rocks away. This stream bottom has been worn smooth. And when water flows over rocks, it not only causes a physical change, it can cause a change inside the rock to the different materials that make up the rock. This is called a chemical change. Let's see what water with a little vinegar, a weak acid from plants, can do to this soft rock called soapstone. After just a few minutes, you can begin to see particles in the water. Let's wait just a little longer. Now look, parts of this soft rock have dissolved. Why did some of the rock wash away here and some of it stay there? Water caused a chemical change. It was able to dissolve some of the material in the rock, while other parts did not dissolve. We saw how water can get into cracks in rocks, freeze, expand, and break rocks down. The same thing can happen with plants. Plants. Plants can grow in cracks in rocks. As the plant grows, the roots of the plant grow too, making the crack bigger and bigger until wind. This landform in Utah may have been smooth at one time. Desert winds carrying sand have weathered this surface. These workmen are getting ready to paint this truck. They're using this machine that blows air and sand to blast away the old paint. It's called a sandblaster. Look what sand and wind can do to a soft surface like wood in just a few minutes. Just like that sandblaster, over time, wind can weather away the surface of landforms, changing the way they look. Temperature. The wind isn't blowing on this rock in the sun, but this rock is still weathering. It's getting warmer now, and some of the materials in the rock are expanding quickly with the heat. Other materials in the same rock are expanding slowly. When the sun goes down, they'll contract or get smaller at different speeds too. This expansion and contraction is all smaller than we can see with our own eyes, but over time, it is enough to slowly break the rock down. So temperature changes can also cause weathering.
But after weathering breaks up rock, what happens to it?
Okay, based on the video, what are the factors that cause weathering? Very good. The factors that cause the weathering are water, ice, wind, plants, heating, and cooling. Alright, today I am going to present to you the factor that affects weathering. Okay, class, I have here a sample picture of a rock. What can you observe? Yes, the rocks break into pieces. Now, weathering is a process where a rock breaks down into smaller pieces into the Earth's surface. Weathering may be physical or chemical. Physical weathering, also called mechanical weathering, breaks down rocks without changing their chemical composition. Physical weathering involves the breakdown of rocks and soil through direct contact with atmospheric conditions such as heat, water, ice, and pressure. Mechanical or physical weathering breaks rocks into smaller pieces. These smaller pieces are just like the bigger rock, just smaller. That means that the rock has changed physically without changing its composition. The smaller pieces have the same minerals in just the same portion as the original rock. During the day, the other layer of a rock is hot while the center is cold. So the other layer of the rock is expanded slightly. At night, when the temperature drops, the outer layer cools faster than its center and contacts slightly. After some time, the outer layer of the rock cracks and breaks off. Now, chemical weathering involves chemical reactions. Remember that the most common minerals in Earth's crust are the silicate minerals. Many silicate minerals form in igneous or metamorphic rocks. The minerals that form at the highest temperatures and pressures are the least stable at the surface. There are many types of chemical weathering because there are many agents of chemical weathering. Water is the most important agent of chemical weathering. Two other important agents of chemical weathering are carbon
Here's an
dioxide
example
and
of physical
oxygen.
weathering.
During weathering, large rocks are broken down into smaller and movable pieces. Then, they are broken down further through erosion. So what is erosion? Erosion is the process of weathering down and removal of rocks and soil materials by natural agents such as running water, glaciers, and wind. It is also a process wherein the removals of surface material from the earth crust, primary soil, and rock debris and the transportation of the eroded materials by natural agents such as water
Here's an
or wind.
example of chemical weathering.
Erosion will often occur after a rock has been disintegrated or altered through weathering. Weathered rock materials will be removed from its original sites and transported away by natural agents. There are many factors that affecting soil erosion. The agents of soil erosion are the same as the agents of all types of erosion: water, wind, ice, gravity, and waves. Erosion that happens as gravity moves materials down slope. Example: rock slide, mudslide, and landslide. So we will have our first activity. Let me see if you guys were listening. We will have our activity. I have here a few questions and you have to answer it. Just raise your hand to those who wants to answer, okay? What are the two types of weathering? Yes, John, you may answer. Yes, you are right. Weathering may be physical or chemical. Now, what is mechanical weathering? Yes, Anna? Yes,
Here's an
you're right.
example of erosion.
Mechanical or physical weathering breaks rock into smaller pieces. These smaller pieces are just like the bigger rock, just smaller. That means that the rock has changed physically without changing its composition. The smaller pieces have the same minerals in just the same portion as the original rock. Next, what is chemical weathering? Yes, Jane? Very good. Chemical weathering is different from mechanical weathering because the rock changes, not just in size of pieces but in composition. That is one type of mineral change into a different mineral. Chemical weathering works through chemical reactions that cause the change in the minerals. So, how about what is the process of removal of surface material from the Earth's crust? Yes, Ben? Yes, you are right. Erosion process wherein the removals of surface material from the Earth's crust, primarily soil and rock debris, and the transportation of the eroded materials by natural agents such as water or wind. Erosion will often occur after a rock has been disintegrated or altered through weathering. As the student, what can you contribute to avoid soil erosion? Yes, that's right. The things that we can contribute to avoid soil erosion is by helping them in planting trees. Again, can you tell me some events that causes erosion? Very good. Some events that causes erosion are rain, rivers, flood, wind, and some people activities. Can you give me an example of chemical weathering? Very good. Some examples of chemical weathering are rust, which happens through oxidation and acid rain, caused from carbonic acid dissolved rock. So, what is the positive effect of soil erosion? Very good. Soil erosion allows new soil to be scattered on a dead soil. Have you ever watched news about landslide? And the worst part of it was many houses were destroyed. Now, on a clean sheet of paper, I want you to answer these questions. The picture shows a large rock breaking apart. Which of these most likely making the rock break apart? Then explain your answer. Okay, for those who are finished, kindly raise your hands. Are you ready to give your answer? Okay, class, kindly read what you have written on your paper. Okay, Ben, please read your answer in front of your classmates. Very good. As the roots grow, they wedge the rock apart in order to get water and nutrients to sustain their growth. Okay, class, please get a 1/2 sheet of pad paper and answer the following activity. Okay, for your assignment, give 2 examples of chemical weathering and physical weathering and explain the process. Okay, goodbye, class.